Happy holidays, everyone. Okay. So I think we have less people today because of the holidays. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a good time or is having a good time. Okay, just so everyone knows, my chat. Sometimes when I'm full screen, it doesn't like to open my chat. Just so everyone knows, both for the research writing and the teacher training, we're going to continue to have the research writing in English at 7 p.m. every Saturday, but we are also going to offer it at 9 a.m. Happy holidays. So we're also going to offer it in 8 a.m., the same class, but in Burmese. So the explanations will be in Burmese. So if you want help understanding, in case you ever struggle to understand the English, so you can take it in Burmese at 9 a.m. and then 7 p.m. for research writing. For teacher training, it is 8:30 p.m. teacher training in English on Saturdays, but we're also going to offer it in the morning at 10:30 a.m. in Burmese, just so people know. So it'll be just like the same class, but just translated into Burmese. Okay, so today we're continuing with assessing needs, placement tests, and pretests. So the objective for today is that participants will be able to explain why placement tests and pretests are important. So first of all, Saturday, same day. So Saturday morning, we will have, maybe I'll write it out like this, Saturday. So at 9 o'clock a.m., we will have research writing in Burmese. 10:30 a.m., it will be teacher training in Burmese. And then 7 p.m. will be research writing in English, same class. And then 8:30 p.m. will be teacher training in English. So speaking in English. It's just the language that it'll be done in, so that you know. And you can attend both if you want, or you can attend one or the other, whatever you would like. It will be the same link. So you can use the same link. Okay, so just to talk about it a little bit. We are happy you are here, obviously. If you are late or have technical issues, please join the conversation as you are able to. Mute yourself when you are not talking, but please remember to unmute yourself when you do want to talk. We want to be able to hear everyone. Please complete the pre-session interactive self-paced slides. They're on Facebook. I send them by email. No, I send the Google, I send a link by email, and they're in the Google Classroom, which I also link to. I will also send an email with a post-session feedback form, and I will give it at the end of class. This will help us revise and develop the course. If you have any questions or technical issues during the session, please send a message in the chat box indicating so, or you can send us an email at info@hettgroup.com. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Lisa Vance. Most of you know me already. So I've previously taught English, I've done environmental education, I've also actually coordinated arts camps and art workshops, I've done some teacher training, that type of thing. I previously was in Myanmar for about almost 2 years. And yeah, so I'll be leading this. Kathleen makes the slides and she will be co-hosting. Kathleen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kathleen Garaiwi. I'm currently a Spanish teacher in the United States, but I also have experience teaching English and doing teacher trainings in Mexico and teaching English online.
Okay, awesome. Okay. How well do you understand placement tests and pretests? So not at all, a little bit more, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. So show of fingers on the count of 3. If you don't have video, you could put it in the chat box. So 1, 2, 3. Can you show me? I prefer if you do show me, but you can put it in the chat box if you have to. Okay, some 3s. Let me check the chat box. 2, 2, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Okay. Have you ever taken a placement test? Or have you ever delivered a placement test? What was it for? So you can tell me or type in the chat box. Yes, and what was it for? To know their existing level? To check out what grade you are? To figure out the level of language the students are? Good. Anyone else? To know students' level? Awesome. So how about a pre-test? Have you ever taken a pre-test or delivered a pre-test? And what was it for? So again, you can tell me in the chat box. Okay, to check the students' grades. To know how much, to check the prior knowledge of the students, to test students' grades. Good. What is a placement test? To check the student's background knowledge. So what is a placement test? Can anyone tell me? So, I mean, you guys gave some examples. So placement test usually is given before the start of a school year or a program that you are starting. It might be for to know how much students know the lesson, kind of test to know their knowledge. Yeah. It's kind of to know their knowledge. Yeah. So a placement test, it's to know, it's given beforehand for all students entering like a program or a grade or a school, and it determines which class to put them in or which group. So you take a placement test and you might be placed here, or you might be placed here, or you might be placed here. An easy example is you might take an English placement test to know if you should be placed in a C1 class or a B2 class or an A2 class, or an elementary, intermediate, advanced class. So which class should you be placed in? That is a placement test. I mean, placement, place. You get placed into a class. What is a placement test not used for? Does anyone know? Yeah, so it's not used to assign grades. Good. So it's done at the beginning to figure out where to put them. So you don't use a placement test to determine the grades. You just determine where to put the students. It also it is not used for developing course content. So it does not help with that. You already have your content kind of structured a bit, or maybe afterwards you might do a pretest, but it helps you just decide where you're putting the students. Okay, what is a pretest? Does anyone know what's the difference? What is a pretest? So a pretest can be given, it can be beginning at the beginning of the year, or a specific lesson or specific unit. So it's given at the beginning as well. But yes, it's more to test the knowledge. So it might be given to students in a particular class to determine what they already know and what needs to be taught. So what does a student already know, and how can we adapt to that to figure out what needs to be taught? Yeah, checking the earlier knowledge before the test. And you can also do a post-test. So if you do a pre-test, you might do a post-test, and you can measure the difference between the pre-test and the post-test. It is not used to determine grades either. It is just used to figure out the knowledge and where you should focus. Okay, so what is a pretest not used for? I kind of mentioned one already. What is it not used for? Yeah, not to measure, not to grade. Good. So it is not used for determining grades, and it is not used for moving students to different classes. So a placement test is for placing the students in different classes. A pretest is to measure the knowledge. Hey, good, not to judge the grade. Okay, so we're going to do a Venn diagram to compare and contrast placement tests and pretests. So you can kind of see the Venn diagram here. You have placement tests, pretests, and both. So what is different? What is the same? Only complete activity 1. So there's activity 1. This is activity 1. Do not complete activity 2. We will do it afterwards. Only activity 1. Only activity 1. Okay, so I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat, and then I will put you in breakout rooms. Let's do 2 rooms. You will have 10 minutes. So make sure to have one person share their screen and work together. Just activity 1.
တော့ဝင်တော့ရေးရမယ်တင်တယ်နော် teacher ကျွန်တော်ပို့အဆင်ပြေမယ်နော်အဲ့ဒါမှခွဲလို့ရပဲဆိုတော့ both မှာခါကျတော့ teacher test ဖြစ်တယ်နှစ်ခုလုံးဒီ test ဖြစ်တယ်နော်နှစ်ခုလုံးဒီ test ဖြစ်တာလည်းပါတယ် now ဘယ်လိုပြောလဲ prior knowledge ကိုလည်းစမ်းတာလည်းပါတယ် language တစ်ခုမှရှိတဲ့ prior knowledge ကိုစမ်းတာလည်းပါတယ် so နော် test စီနော် prior knowledge နောက်ပြီး
ဒါဆို placement test ကကြတော့တခါလဲ level ပါတခါလဲခွဲပြီးတော့
Okay, let's look at some of the answers that people wrote down. So both, to test the students within a short period of time. Yeah, I mean, it's usually a pretty short test. Important for teachers. Yes, definitely. Results can be used for data collection. Yeah, definitely. And I would say both tests are usually done at the beginning of something, beginning of a class or something, or before, kind of before or beginning. Placement test, to put students in the appropriate level. Organizational test, used in a school or organization. Good. Pretest, to know the background knowledge before the lesson within a particular class. Use in curriculum and language design. Yeah, because you might design around your pretest a bit. Okay, down here, both test prior knowledge. Yeah, both of them are looking at prior knowledge. No grading, taking tests before a course. Yeah, so placement test, level test, marking for levels, test language skills. Good. Yeah, it can test language skills. You can test other things as well. Pretest, test specific areas, test prior knowledge in specific areas or prescribed tests. A lot of times it might have a post test. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next activity. So it follows from here. You will individually respond to questions about your experiences giving placement or pretests. Record your answers in Pear Deck. And then we will talk about them. So have you ever given a placement test before? Give an example of a time when you have either given or taken a placement test. And the same thing for pretest. And just in case people missed the link, I'll put it in the chat box again. Everyone. So it's in the chat box again. You can work on this individually and you have 10 minutes to work on it. But if most people finish it before, then we might look at it before that since it's only 2 questions. So work on it individually. Okay, Kathleen, do you want to turn the music on? If anyone has any questions, they can type it in the chat box or tell me.
Given placement test before, give an example of a time when you have either give or taken a placement test.
So it's just activity 2, just the 2 questions afterwards, activity 2. So make sure to only do activity 2. You already did activity 1, so you don't have to do it again. activity number 2 is just after activity 1. So you just keep going forward. So you just have to click the arrows forward on the bottom until you get to activity 2. We have activity 1, and then afterwards we have activity 2. Okay, we'll give you another, it doesn't look like people are finished yet, so I'll give you another about 3 minutes to work on it. One more minute. Okay, let's go through some of the answers. Okay. So have you ever given a placement test before? Give an example of a time when you have either given or taken a placement test. Yes, I have taken a placement test before I join a course, a language course or academic course. I have to take placement tests. Yes, definitely. Yes, when I took a language course, I was really excited, and I also desired to know my levels. It counted for 4 skills, especially listening and oral tests are a bit nervous. Yes, I have. A time for a placement test is 1 hour to complete all 4 skills, reading, writing, grammar, and listening. For speaking, it is given 15 minutes to each candidate. I have also taken an English level test, giving 30 minutes for written questions and 10 minutes for speaking. Yes, I have always give placement tests at our school according to their grades so that they can be put into the appropriate level. Good, yes. When our school will be open for newly recruited students, yeah, so when it opens, you can place them. When an entrance exam for new students enrollment, good. No, when I applied for general English, the institute gave me a placement test. No, I haven't done it yet. Yes, I've taken placement tests before. I've been given 3 hours for placement test. Yes, I've given a placement test before begin the academic year to put the appropriate level or class. We use this test to know their language level in order to classify the multi-level classes from different backgrounds. Good. When I work as a teacher, I want students to take a placement test. Good. Yes, staff exams. Yes, I have taken a placement test as a candidate for a scholarship and given this test to my students as a teacher, such as when they have to compare their language level with others for scholarships. Good. Yes, I've taken placement tests before I attend the Starfish education class. Good. Okay. Have you ever given a pretest before? Give an example of a time when you have either given or received a pretest. So if I want to join any language course, I have to take a pretest. Yep. Yes, before I teach a new lesson. Yes. When I want to measure the knowledge of the particular topic. Yes. Especially for topic learning. Yes, when I am a teacher, I usually take pretests for 20 minutes to check learners' background. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to click it out. Skills in oral mingling activity or written. I haven't given a pretest to students on grammar lesson or any language focused lesson yet. Okay, maybe in the future. Yes, I have. A time for a pretest is 30 minutes to test their language fluency through free writing to check the knowledge of vocabulary, grammar usage, the level of ideas, and the organization of the writing. Yes, I always give a pretest before the lesson, such as brainstorming or mind mapping or discussing groups like that. I want to know how much they know about the topic. Yeah, so you can do kind of like a pretest, post-test per lesson, make it very short. You could do it per unit or module, per course, per program. It really depends. Yes, I have. I've taken a pretest 1 week before starting the lesson. Yes, I have. I give students to take the pretest before the upcoming units. Yes, training class exams. Yes, I've given a pretest when my students are testing for the relevant fields. Yes, before beginning my lesson, we need to find out their weaknesses and strengths on teaching language skills. We also need to check their problem about new lesson and what extent they understand about the topic. I've taken the pretest when I attended particular modules. Good. Yes, I've taken a pretest when collecting data for my research. Yeah, you could use it for that as well. Okay, excellent. Just quick review. So a review question, why would you give students a placement test? You can tell me or type in the chat box. So why would you give students a placement test? Sorry. Why do you give it to them? To put students in the, in the correct levels, same student, to study according to their levels. Yeah, to know students' ability. It might help a little bit with their knowing their ability, but yeah, it's definitely to kind of place them according to their levels. Why would you give students a pretest? Oh, to inquire their level, to group them into the same level, To specify students' learning? To determine the student level? Good. And why a pretest? Yeah, to know what your students know in a specific area, to check prior knowledge, to know the background knowledge, to know their background knowledge about the topic, to know how far they have studied. Good. Yeah, to know the background knowledge. Okay, how well do you understand placement tests and pretests? Not at all, a little bit more, somewhat, quite a bit, or extremely well. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. So can you show me? 4, 4, I think 4, 5. Check the chat box. 3, 3, 3. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to put the feedback form in the, in the email or in the chat box, and I will also email it out. And we'll get more specifically into assessments later on, and that's all types of assessments. But this is just more as part of the needs assessment, but we're going to look specifically at designing assessments later on. So if you feel not totally comfortable, that's okay, and we'll do more in the future. Okay, so I'm going to email out a course feedback and invitation to join Google Classroom. So next week's topic is on creating a needs assessment, and the syllabus is in the Google Classroom. So thank you very much, and goodbye. If you have any questions, I'll stay around for the next maybe 3 minutes. So thank you very much.
Excuse me, teacher, can I ask some questions about the placement test?
Sure.
Yeah, so thank you so much because I'm quite interested in it.
Oh.
So sometimes we are quite what shall I say, not familiar with the placement test because most of the time the institutes implement this task, not the teachers. So I just want to know that what kind of, because what is the quality insurance about the placement test? So I need to know the quality insurance. So placement tests can be, what shall I say, created by ourselves, or maybe it is best, it is a good idea to take the, what shall I say, ready-made one that has been already existed one.
I mean, I think that really depends on your institute or on your school and what the placement test is for. And it also depends on the experience of the teachers or the trainers or who is creating the placement test. So if they have a very clear idea of their curriculum and they have their own curriculum, then they might make a placement test to match their curriculum. If you're just looking to figure out what, say if it's around English language teaching and you just want to figure out what level someone is, it might be better to use a test, like a placement test, say from like the Cambridge test, or there's even lots of tests online where they have the questions on, and they will place you like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So if you want placed like that, it's probably better to use one of the official tests. But if you're building your own curriculum, then you would obviously need a placement test that would match your curriculum. So it really depends, I think, on what you're using it for. Kathleen, do you have anything you would add? Or
No, I definitely agree with that. It depends on your school and your institution. Like you said, teachers don't normally have control over the placement test side of things. So that decision is probably made by someone else in your institution. But I think as a teacher, you definitely can give feedback after your students have been placed. If they're using the same test year after year and you say, hey, this is not working, my students are in the wrong levels every time, maybe then you can bring up with your administrators, can we try a different test? Maybe we need to design our own test, like Lisa was saying, because we have these specific engineering classes and there's not really something good that exists. So yeah, it really depends a lot on the situation and on your school.
Thank you so much. And it's quite clear enough for me. And then it might be matched with the curriculum that we are going to implement in our schools.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Okay, I think I'm going to end there. So thank you very much and bye-bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.